welcome everyone to the kicking and screaming and fighting panel on nuclear power. Nuclear power, any discussion of nuclear power sparks controversy and passion on all sides. We wonder, can the U.S. convert to clean energy without resorting to the use of nuclear power? Is there a safe way to use nuclear power and deal safely with waste? Our panel will help us understand the various dimensions of the nuclear conundrum. Our panelists are, I will begin with Stewart, who is president of the, two to my left here, president of the Long Now Foundation, co-founder of the Global Business Network, and author of a magnificent book. I can't recommend it enough to everyone here, Whole Earth Discipline, an Eco-Pragmatist Manifesto. Two to his left, let's go to James Connaughton here. Was chair of the White House Council on Environmental Quality under President George W. Bush. He directs environmental and energy policy government relations now for Constellation Energy. Constellation has several existing nuclear power plants, including two at Calvert Cliffs in Maryland. And I mention Calvert Cliffs because that's the site where Constellation hopes to add at least one more nuclear power plant in the near future. In a sense, Constellation Energy is in competition, although we may discover that competition has an interesting nature, with David Crane of NRG Energy, who also operates nuclear power plants, two mega units, the South Texas project near the Gulf Coast on south of Houston. You have two large plants there, and you want to build two more. And you're looking for some of the same federal loan guarantees. Looks like I've lost my...
You have to shout. I can hear you.
Well, there we go. Can you hear me? Am I coming through? Okay. Is looking for some of the federal loan guarantee money that has been made available to build many nuclear power plants. The question is whether there's going to be enough of that loan guarantee money to build the number of projects that are in the works. All right, going on down to the end of the panel here, we have David Dunning, who is a group president for Power with the Fluor Corporation. And David's presence here is interesting because if this plant is built, the NRG plant is built as part of the South Texas project, Fluor Corporation will be managing the project, is that correct, and handling construction. And finally, we have poor Michael Brune here from the Sierra Club. Our rather unbalanced panel contains only one person that I'm aware of who is opposed to nuclear power. I suspect that you have some allies in the audience, and we'll hear a little bit from everybody else as time goes on. But, Michael, let me begin with you. I have, in conversations with some other environmental organizations, for example, the Union of Concerned Scientists, they are opposed to nuclear power, but not unambiguously. As I understand it, the Union of Concerned Scientists' position on nuclear power is, we'd be willing to support it if we trusted the power companies to operate them safely, and if we trusted the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to regulate them effectively. Is your organization unambiguously opposed to nuclear power, or can you foresee circumstances under which you might actually support the development of new nuclear power plants?
The Sierra Club is unambiguously, adamantly, enthusiastically opposed to nuclear power. I should say at the same time, who knows what scientists will discover. It could be decades from now. Scientists will find some way to make nuclear power safe and affordable. They haven't done it after more than a half century of research and billions of dollars of public taxpayer dollars in R&D. And we think, fundamentally, we feel that every dollar that's invested in nuclear power is a dollar that is much better invested in clean energy. Mm-hmm. So we feel it's an unwise investment.
Let me put that question to the two Davids on the here who are looking to build new nuclear power plants. Can you look us in the eye collectively and tell us that what you're proposing to do is good public policy in terms of that these nuclear power plants will be safe, these new ones that you want to build, and that the public interest will be adequately protected?
Well, I'd say you could only say it's good public policy if you're serious about global warming. And our nuclear power plant, when it's expanded to 4 units, itself will displace the amount of anthropomorphic carbon equal to the entire country of Belgium. So, nuclear plants, the scale is so much more vast than anything that's currently being contemplated in the renewables. It's a game changer. It actually can move the needle in terms of the goals that the world scientists have set to us on the environmental front. On the economic front, nuclear plants are undoubtedly expensive to build, and the first plants that we're looking to build, the one that Southern Company is looking to build in Georgia and Constellation and ourselves, they'll undoubtedly be a little bit expensive, but it's been 30 years since this country built a nuclear plant. Mm-hmm. And no less an authority on this issue than the Obama administration, by seeking $36 billion of extra appropriations for next year, bringing the total to $54 billion. Mm-hmm. That's probably enough for 10 reactors. That will reduce the supply chain costs. And so, what I don't understand about environmental people who want to, pour all this government money into renewables to bring the cost down, they reject those economic arguments when those exact same economic arguments apply to nuclear power. People say, well, it's been around for 50 years, but when you go 30 years without building a plant, the supply chain dries up, and we're talking about building a generation of nuclear plants in this country that have been built recently in France and Japan, but are 2 generations more advanced than anything that currently exists. And so I would say economically, nuclear plant is very low marginal cost production, and again, if you tie it with the electric vehicle, then you have the possibility of reducing this country's critical dependence on foreign oil, and so that I think also is a huge factor from a public policy perspective.
James, how many nuclear power plants are on the drawing board right now? How many new plants are expected to come online?
So we know that there are 26 units that are in the planning phase because licenses have been filed for at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Right now, there were 4 in the running for the DOE loan guarantee program. I think that's effectively now 3. And it's a chicken and egg issue. If the program is up and viable and open the way it was originally intended, I think you'd see all 26 of those moving. So there's a readiness to go.